Hello, in this module I'll introduce you to the concept of Orientalism in order to create a context for the popularity of Indian cultures in the era of globalization. We need to go back to the history of the Fed for India in the West that began well before the era of globalization, and this, in order to understand these trends, let's go back to an earlier phase and the production of a discourse called Orientalism in the West about the non-West that created a desire for the non-West or the East in the West among a group of people, a discourse that was not just used to represent the East, but also constructed the East not only for the Western imaginary, but also for the East itself. We define Orientalism as a term, it's a term used by scholars in art history, literary, geography and cultural studies for the depiction of Eastern, that is Oriental cultures, including Middle Eastern, South Asian, African and East Asian cultures done by writers, designers and artists from the West. As I go along, I will be showing you some of these representations, some of these artistic representations which show how the East was depicted in the West. Now, the most dominating, the most influential understanding of Orientalism has been given by the scholar Edward Said, who talks about, who defines it in this manner. He says that unlike the Americans, the French and British, less so the Germans, Russians, Spanish, Portuguese and Italians and Swiss have had a long tradition of what I shall be calling Orientalism, a way of coming to terms with the Orient that's based on Orient's special place in European Western experience. So, an idea of Orient based on its place in European Western experience produce Orientalism. The Orient, according to Said, is not just adjacent to Europe, it's also the place of Europe's greatest and richest and oldest colonies, the source of its civilizations and languages, its cultural contestant, and one of its deepest and most recurring images of the other. So, in addition, the Orient has helped to define Europe or the West as its contrasting image, idea, personality or experience. Yet none of this Orient is merely imaginative. The Orient is an integral part of European material, civilization and culture. Now, Orientalism is a style of thought based upon ontological and epistemological distinction between the Orient and, most of the time, the Occident. The phenomena of Orientalism, as I study it, Edward Said says, deals principally not with a correspondence between Orientalism and Orient, but with the internal consistency of Orientalism and its ideas about the Orient, despite or beyond any correspondence or lack, therefore, with a real Orient. So, this Orient, as we know, or Orientalism, is a discourse which is a figment of the West's imagination. It is created without any reference, it has no correspondence with the real Orient, but it is a discourse about the East which is produced in the West. A discourse about the East in the West produced by Western scholars, which tends to elevate a certain Eastern past over the other pasts, and constructed this Orient or the East as an alterity to the West by calling it the Orient, and by creating an idea about the East which was seen as an alterity to the West. Now, this East is primitive, savage, superstition laden, but also beautiful, noble, closer to nature. So, it is not necessarily a negative image, but it is an image which does not have any correspondence with the real East, and its use mainly to define the European self. So, this idea of the Oriental other, the East as the other, is used basically essentially by Europe to define itself. So, we have several phases of Orientalist study, Orientalism. It does not begin with Edward Said, even though he defines it. We look at 19th century and the study of Eastern culture, religion, philosophy, mysticism, art, music, poetry and painting in the 19th century in the West. And it takes off from the Romantic project and the idea that the Judeo-Christian thought and the cold materialism of enlightenment made many Europeans seek for a lost spirit in the promised land of India. So, this search for a childlike innocence, a vision of wholeness, a yearning for the recovery of what the poets and philosophers of the period felt the age had lost, namely a oneness with humankind, a oneness with nature, and for a reunification with religion, philosophy and art, so sent several scholars on a eastern journey. And some of these, now what was the image of the East and the West prior by the major thinkers of the West until recently? We have some representative figures, James Mill for instance, who said that the East had no idea particularly about India, it had no idea of any system of rule different from the will of single person, appears to have entered the minds of them. And for Hegel, Eastern unreflective consciousness made plain that it was Europe that absolutely the end of history. So, Asia was the beginning. Asia had no history, no culture, no civilization. This was Hegelian's view. So, at its core, the Orientalist paradigm was informed by 19th century theories of progress, where the West was seen as a telos of human development, whereas the East produced great civilizations in the past, but was destined to decline subsequently. This mode of presenting the Orient conveniently justified the Europe's colonial rule over inferior cultures. So, this was the rationale for the civilizational mission and the need for Europe to civilize, the need for Europe or the white man to civilize natives and the colonized people. Now, there is a imaginative geography of Orientalism, and in this imaginative geography, India is seen as a spiritual, degenerated, caste-ridden, collectivist, holistically religious locus that has no coevalness with the West. So, in the evolutionary scale, India is at the beginning and the West at the end, and there is no coevalness between India and the West in the imaginative geography of Orientalism. At its worst, Indo-Orientalist discourse has equated Indian present and past and has imagined India as a timeless vacuum, because India is not supposed to have any history, and India that is essentially ancient and stagnant. So, as I said, Orientalism picks up a particular past and shows it as a real past of a particular society. So, the real India is believed to be essentially ancient and stagnant, and if there has been any change in India, it has been imagined to proceed towards degeneration, particularly with the Mughal rule. So, at this stage, Orientalist protagonists included people such as travelers, thinkers, novelists, philosophers and colonial administrators who developed a deep affection towards the Orient and mesmerized by its exoticism. But most remain ignorant about the inner diversity and texture of Eastern societies. So, it was not necessarily a negative discourse, it was very positive, but it tended to exoticize those. There were people who loved India and those who hated India, but those who loved India also presented it in an exoticized manner, so that it was far removed from the real India, and these included opinion makers like novelists, thinkers, philosophers and administrators, but they did not really understand what India is. So, the first person, we do not begin really in the 19th century, we begin earlier, because the first person who studied, the first German scholar of Sanskrit was a German scholar, Heinrich Roth, who became fluent in India during his fluent in Sanskrit during his stay in India, and the first person to write a grammar on the language, which was never published. The real beginnings of study, Sanskrit study, but did not take off until the beginning of the 19th century, making Germany the first European country after the British to introduce the subject at universities, where scholars devoted themselves to translating antique religious texts and poetry. So, the Orientalist project was pan-European. It was not just confined to the British who colonized India, but also spread to other European nations such as Germany. In this discourse, the ancient wisdom of India, especially Brahmin and Hinduism, have been seen as treasures for the nation to draw on, and on which the soulless West should emulate to rise from its decadence. So, India is a model. India is an alterity. An ancient India based on Sanskrit language and Brahminical wisdom is seen as a panacea for all the soullessness of the modern of the West. Some of Germany's first Sanskrit scholars were famous personalities such as Wilhelm von Humboldt. Humboldt corresponded with Hegel, with whom he discussed the Bhagavad Gita, and we saw that Hegel said that India had no philosophy, no religion, no history, and there were these dialogues taking place between the philosopher Hegel and the German scholar Humboldt. Back then it was clear that Sanskrit would not become a language for the masses, it was rather a discipline for a limited number of insiders. The German Indologist Max Muller, who is very well known in India, courtesy the Max Muller Bhavan, where one can learn through the Goethe Institutes in India, which are called Max Muller Bhavan. Although he had never travelled to India, instead lived in Great Britain for over 50 years, he became famous for the first German publication of the most holy of Hindu texts, the Rig Veda. No one before him had dared taking on the complicated Rig Veda. To this day, Muller is considered to be a visionary and possibly the most talented Sanskrit scholar of all time. His 50-volume translation of holy Asian books, sacred books of the East, continues to impress and baffle scholars. And I would like to inform you that IIT Library has had copies of this 50-volume translation of Max Muller's Sacred Books of the East. So, essentially our idea, our understanding of the sacred books of the East comes from some of these translations. In 1808, August William Schlegel published his famous reference book titled On the Language and Wisdom of the Indians. In 1818, he became the first professor of Indology at Bonn University. Even the poet Friedrich Rückert, who had been an expert on Arabic and Persian, also studied Sanskrit and made a name for himself with the translation of the Mahabharata legends. Some works by German philosophers and poets such as Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, Arthur Schopenhauer and Friedrich Nietzsche also mention Sanskrit words and are thus proof of the Sanskrit mania of the time. Now, from Germany, let us move to India and to the British. It was the British, however, the colonial rulers, who formally created the subject Indology, which is still studied in several universities in Europe, including Germany. At the end of the 18th century, when the English scientist William Jones founded the Asiatic Society of Bengal in Kolkata in 1784, but prior to that there was a market for Sanskrit, albeit a small one. So, Indology, what is Indology? Indology or South Asian studies is the academic study of the history and cultures, languages and literatures of the Indian subcontinent, not India, but the Indian subcontinent. The academic study of the history and cultures, languages and literatures of the Indian subcontinent. So, it need not be just Sanskritic, more specifically the modern day states of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Nepal and the eastern parts of Afghanistan, and is a subset of Asian studies. Now, with the help of Romantic Orientalism, now we look at the impact of Orientalism on Indian nationalism. As I said in the beginning, that this idea of the Orient, which was constructed by the West, as an idea which was in which the East or the Orient served as an alterity to the West, everything that the West was not, both positive and negative images of the Orient, which exoticized the Orient as well as demonized the Orient as savage and primitive, but also saw it as beautiful, closer to nature and innocent. Now, these images were essentially constructed by Europe to define itself, to answer a crisis within Europe, a crisis it used the crisis about where European civilization was heading led Europe to turn to the East in order to define itself, where East through appropriating, where the East was seen as an answer to the decay or the decay or the soullessness of European civilization. But the fallout of this Orientalism was that since most of the studies of India or of cultures of the Indian subcontinent began first, formal studies I am talking about, they began in the West by they were done by European scholars, such as those scholars in Germany and in Britain and British in India. The understanding of this production of Indian past, for instance, an ancient Indian past based on the Vedic corpus and Sanskrit language as the real Indian past. This was the contribution of the Indologists and the Orientalist scholars. It had a deep impact not only on the Western imagination of Western understanding of India, but also the same idea which was used by the West to civilize the East, by showing that the East, the logic that East had degenerated following the Mughal invasion, and the real culture of the East, the ancient Indian culture, was lost. The same discourse was used by nationalist scholars. It was first internalized by nationalist scholars, who also became complicit in affirming confirming the idea of the real Indian past as the Hindu, Sanskritic, Vedic past, and use this past to instill a sense of pride among during the nationalist movement among ordinary Indian people, that India, and to drive out, to construct the idea of an ancient India as the real India, and to show that it was a British rule which had caused it, that was a fallout of this, that it was in the ancient Indian civilization sank or was lost because of the series of invasion, first the Mughal and then the British. So, with the help of this romantic Orientalism, Indian nationalism has performed a sort of Orientalist judo move to use the force of Orientalism to serve its own purposes. The Anglo-Saxon Orientalist depictions of India were turned around and used to construct a discourse where the West, so there was, as is in opposition to West's understanding of the Orient, a construction which was entirely a Western construction, the East constructed its own construction of the West as the Occident, through creating a discourse about the West, which was where West was seen as immoral, strange in its individualism, and indulging in materialism without spirit. So, the essence of the nationalist movement, the production of a mystical, spiritual, non-materialist India, which was seen as an alterity to the materialistic, immoral, individualist West, was a smart master move, one can say, by the nationalist leaders to create an Occident in the image of the Orient constructed by Indologists and Orientalist scholars, to reverse the exoticization of the Orient of the East by the West. And in the units that follow, we will be looking at how this interest in India or Indian languages such as Sanskrit, or Indian texts such as the Vedic texts, which began as early as the 17th century as in Roth's understanding of Sanskrit. These ideas carry over. So, there seems to be several movements, one can say, where there's a fad for India and India, which is produced by the Orientalist or Indologist imagination, a fad through which an image of India as spiritual, communalistic and mystical is produced and used by the by a European self or by European societies or Euro-American societies in crisis to resolve their own crisis in identity. From time to time, these images or these represent Orientalist images of India have been invoked by the by Europe and Europeans to reconstruct itself, to redefine itself. A wave which began in the 20s, in the 60s and in the 90s, and we will be looking at these, we will be focusing largely on the 90s wave, but we connect these 90s wave, the post globalization wave or the fad for India in the West, the trend for India in the West, by examining earlier waves like the 1920s wave, Orientalist wave, or the 1960s wave, where there was a similar interest in India in the West.